Peter John Stoltzman here, and these are Major Triads played with an arpeggio technique. Major Triads are the building blocks of pop piano. So let's get started. In Workbook 1, Section 2, you will learn to play a major triad in all 12 keys, perform basic accompaniment techniques, and use the sustain pedal effectively. Playing the piano is essentially playing shapes and sounds, and chords are the primary shapes that commercial pianists use. The first chord you got to learn is C major triad. Say it and play it. C major triad. Now take a look. C, E, G. If you do your fingers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, starting on C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see it's 1, 3, and 5. And you can finger it that way with your fingers, 1, 3, and 5, or you can get 1, 2, 4. This is my preferred fingering for a major triad actually, 1, 2, 4. Whatever fits your fingers is okay. This is a good one to get into though, because then it gets you into this thing later. Alright, now if you have really big fingers, once in a while somebody really needs to do a 1, 2, 3 grip. And that's okay, but only if you really need it. Otherwise, you want to be here, 1, 2, 4, or 1, 3, 5. Now, we got to start playing something fun with this triad, otherwise it's nothing. So, let's get into some professional techniques. Alright, one, you got to make sure you get your left hand on the bass note down here. It can be in an octave or it can just be a single note. Right hand is playing the chords. And we're going to start with a technique that I call chunking. And this is a good one for rock and roll music. I'm opening up my my play-along track right now. It's the Rock Jam in C from page 7. Before we start playing along, we'll just quickly go through this. It's C triad 4 times. So chunk, 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 chunk. You can see why I call it chunking. And then the left hand is playing a long note, a whole note. Chunk, 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 chunk. You see that left hand? Alright, let's play along with the track now. And don't forget, you can play an octave in your left hand if you want. You can move your right hand around. Here we go. So I add that octave in my left hand. Maybe I'll move the right hand up an octave. That's cool. I can move it down an octave, even down an octave from there. Sounds pretty good. Woo! That's a big sound. I don't know if it's good for this jam, but experiment. Find what you like. Alright, let's move on to double time chunking. Now double time chunking is a technique where you just double up that rhythm. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I sound like I'm counting a dance. But this is a really good technique to use for hip-hop tracks, right? And especially moving that right hand up an octave, maybe even up 2 octaves. So let's play along with the hip-hop play-along track in C from page 8 and try this double time chunking technique. Let's experiment. We'll move it up high, bring it down low. Here we go. 2 and 3 and 4. This is what's written. 5, 6, 7, 8. You can move it up an octave. Give your left hand an octave if you want. Move it up 2 octaves. That's pretty hip, right? That gives you that old school hip hop vibe right there. Alright. Now you can jam with that track to your heart's content. We are going to move on right now to a broken chord technique. Now, a broken chord technique is where you take your chord, and you can see I've got 1, 3, 5 fingering again. If you want 1, 2, 4, that's cool. Either one is good. Just take your top 2 notes and split out your thumb. And then play your thumb alone. And and then back to your top 2 notes. And this is a broken chord technique. So we'll go starting with the top notes, like this. And you might recognize it from Imagine All the People, right? That's a classic broken chord technique. There are so many good songs, classic pop songs with broken chord technique. So let's just get comfortable with it, with this jam in C. Same deal. You can move your left hand around, move your right hand around. 2 and 3. Here we go. If you want to move down an octave with your left hand, you can try that. It's a big sound down there. You can move up with your right hand, or you can move down with your right hand down here. There's that imagine range. Alright, you get the idea, and you can jam with that as much as you want. I got one more technique to show you, and this is called arpeggio. Now, arpeggios are when you actually break the chord up into one note at a time. So 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. And you could get all sorts of different permutations. Arpeggios can be a really fun technique to experiment with, to be creative with, like, or there's just so many possibilities. We're just going to start with a really basic arpeggio going 1, 3, 5, 3 over and over again. Alright, here comes the track. And 2, 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Notice I'm playing octaves in my left hand. That's what's written. Challenging you to get that octave if you can. Again, if you can't, if it doesn't fit in your hand, don't worry about it. Just play a single note. Alright, and that's the C major arpeggio right there. And you can jam along with that. Be creative if you want. Let's talk about a little important add-on to your technique on the piano. Something I'm doing without even thinking about it, and that is using the sustain pedal. Alright, the sustain pedal is the one where if you have 3 pedals on your piano, it's the one on the right. And if you've got a keyboard and you just got a pedal with your keyboard, it's just that pedal. Alright, but any acoustic piano is probably going to have 3 pedals, and you want to go to the one on the right to create a sustain. Now check out what happens. If I hold down that pedal, it just holds out the sound, right? Sustain. Okay, now if I let it go, it lets go of the sound. So when you are playing the sustain pedal, you want to lift when you play. And this is a little bit less intuitive than you think it is. It's kind of like learning a stick shift car and learning to navigate those pedals. The thing is, listen, if you lift up the pedal before you play, you get like a breath before you play, and that's weird. It's like a hiccup. You want to hold it until you play. So that pedal is, your foot is just going like this, whoop, whoop, like that. You want to get all the way off the pedal and right back down, whoop, like that. Whoop. That's what my foot's doing, whoop, like that, right when I play. Alright, you got to practice it. You'll get there. It becomes totally intuitive, just like a stick shift and using that clutch. So you'll get it. Alright, let's get into playing more chords, because we can't just play a C major chord forever, right? Alright, now there's 12 keys, and that can be a little overwhelming, but we're going to organize them into shape groups. So your C major triad is white, white, white notes, right? 3 white notes. And that gives you a certain shape. And you want to just feel that shape in your fingers like a cookie cutter. All right, we're gonna lift that shape up with an invisible crane and move it over to F. And we're gonna lift that up and move it over to G, back to F, and back to C. Just keep that cookie cutter right there. Don't let your fingers start drifting, right? Keep that cookie cutter. Move it over. C, F, and G all have that same white, white, white shape. Okay, now, when you go to D, that's white, black, white. That's your D major triad. And this one shares that shape with E and with A. And again, keep that cookie cutter. This guy has to go forward and grab that black note. Keep that cookie cutter. Use your crane. Just move it over and just get used to these shapes. And you can move them all around the piano if you want. Just get really comfortable with that shape. Now, let's go to the next group. This is black, white, black. You can see it's almost like a photo negative of the white, black, white, right? And the shape really changes. The way that feels in your fingers, the way it looks on the piano. So we've got to get used to these shapes. Luckily, there's 3 keys that use this shape: D flat, E flat, and A flat. These can be a little tricky. Getting your middle note in between the 2 black notes here, don't let that trip you out. Just go from D flat, keep your shape, and find it for D flat, E flat, A flat. Alright, and then there's 3 more shapes, 3 more keys that don't share a shape with any other key. So that's B, white, black, black, and B flat is photo negative, black, white, white, and then F sharp is the key that has all black notes, F sharp. Alright, so that's your 12 keys. 9 of them are grouped, and so essentially it's 3 groups, and then with those other 3. And you can really think about this in a more efficient way rather than having to think of all 12. Alright, so I want you to practice these. I want you to get them to the point where you can say, I'm going to play an A major triad, and go for it. Play an E flat major triad, boom. Play a B major triad, boom. Alright, we've got boxes here you can check. I hope you learned something. I hope you have fun working on this, and I'll see you next time. Peter John Stoltzman here, bringing you inspired, joyful piano music. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment and let me know what videos you would like to see. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications bell. And stay connected with me by going to my website and signing up for my email list. Listen to my music on Bandcamp and follow me on Facebook and Instagram.